What's going on, guys? Today's video is going to be on some more rumors that I found on Reddit. Shout out to Vegetus. And today's sponsor for this video is HeatTap. Come on, you've killed for less. Quality since age 737. But before we get into the video, roll that intro. So as usual, guys, I'm going to put whatever we're talking about up on screen. You guys can just follow along. So it starts out with gyms will have multiple types, for example, fire ghost, ice grass, water bug, and etc. These are not exactly how they will be, but you will get the basic idea of it. Okay, so I think I've read this something very similar to this just recently, and it was pretty interesting. I think the person gave more on it though. They were more like these types will go with these types. But I like the idea of them having multiple type gyms, because it's just, you can just walk into like an electric gym and just earthquake everything in sight, and then you just easily win. So I'm okay with this idea. I like it a lot. 2, post game will have ties to Kalos region, but not able to go there. Possible second region is DLC. Okay, so the last bit leads me to believe this is completely fabricated. Possible second region is DLC. That's like, if you're giving us this already, this entire thing, and this is all supposed to be true, you wouldn't have put that last one in there. It wouldn't have made sense to, because it would either be we're getting a DLC or we're not getting a DLC. In Pokemon, we're unsure how they would handle certain aspects of their game when it comes to console, and I'm not sure if Pokemon will be doing DLC. I see them more as a franchise that gives us a flat $60 game that's just worth whatever money we pay for it. More or less, and I don't think DLC would necessarily be the route, but I'm definitely expecting the first part to be true, at least well, for the majority of the game. I expect Kalos to be mentioned, some characters to appear, being as they're so close in the actual like our world, so that makes perfect sense to me. So 100 new types of Pokemon, Mega Evolutions available, so it's available for 10 Johto Pokemon including starters, Mega Houndour being one. Okay, the Mega Houndour part, what is Houndour? Isn't that the first form? Isn't Houndoom the second form? Yeah, okay, come on now, like you gotta at least get the Pokemon's name right. You can't just, like, if I told you guys there's a Mega Evolution for Charmeleon, would you believe me? Like, come on now, that makes no sense. That's just, no, that's not happening. This is 100% fake. This has got to be fake. Okay, quests to find Mega Stones and side quests for added gameplay. Okay, that's that makes sense. I mean, I guess it's easier than picking them up off the ground. I remember Oras, I think, finding the one for Pidgeot, or Pidgeot, however you want to pronounce it. It was just sitting in the market someplace in Slateport City, I think. So I think adding quests or requirements to pick them up or something like that would be a lot easier than just, here, it's on the floor, it's shiny. Okay, so Ghost Dark Knight Pokemon confirmed. I think I just did something just like this. Am I redoing something? Because this sounds very familiar. The Dark Knight Pokemon is kind of like, I think I made a Batman joke about it, come to think of it. Sawable Final Evolution will be Water Ghost, consistently heard that one. Scorbunny Final Fire Electric. Okay, heard that one as well. Grookey Final Grass and Fighting. So the consensus is Sobble is consistently a Water Ghost. Scorbunny is Fire Electric, and Grookey usually goes Grass Fighting or Grass and Rock or Grass and Ground. So these are just the general. They picked them up from people agreeing with the types that they want them to be. I suppose. Regional Varials. Is that Varials? Am I reading it right? It's not a T, it's Varials. Okay. Regional variants available for certain Johto Pokemon, including Hoot Hoot, Flying Dark. Okay. I can't remember what typing Noctowl falls into. I know it can use like Hypnosis and other moves. Teddiursa Electric Fighting. I'm pretty sure Teddiursa is misspelled. I believe it's an I instead of a Y. I'm not gonna try to be a grammar Nazi about this, but Electric Fighting. Can you imagine Ursaring? I guess it could be a variant like the Alola forms, so I guess it's not too far-fetched. Electric Fighting. They would have to explain why it's electric. I can see fighting, but electric has to be like, well, what's the reason for it? It's a bear, but I guess you can make any bear any type, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Skarmory, Steel Grass. Okay. Skarmory that's 4 times weak to fire. All right. Sure. Let's go with that. Fanfi, ground psychic. I'm noticing that instead of putting the final forms, they're putting the 3. These are the initial form, the first forms: Hoot Hoot, Teddiursa, and Fanfi. I'm assuming that's because, let's just go on the assumption that this person is working for Nintendo, which is what I think they're trying to portray. I guess they would see the first forms before they saw the final form typings, which would, I guess, make sense in a way. Okay, so moving on. Also, new elemental trio, like Panpour, Pansage, and Pansear. Not sure exactly what they will be. Okay, so like I just said before, if we're going on the assumption this person's like working for Nintendo, they probably would know. They would know like more information than that. That's just general. It's like I could say that those 3 or variations of Eevee's evolutions from the first game. Come on now. Female Professor. Professor Oak does make an appearance when looking for legendaries. So the legendary part, I'm not sure if he's ever done that in the past. He's ever shown up for legendaries. Not sure. I know he's shown up in multiple games as like a secondary professor, but he eventually becomes like the primary one eventually towards the end. I think Elm was like practically useless after a certain point. He was just, well, his field of study was for eggs, so I can't even say he was useless. He did his job by ushering in the egg hatching thing and the breeding to us. Professor Oak appeared as the one who gives you the Pokedex, which is his field of study, so I guess that makes sense. Female professor, it's an awesome idea. Love to see it again, because I believe we already had one. Forgot which, was it Juniper? Juniper was the first female professor. That's cool. Perfectly fine with that. That's awesome diversity. Cool. Next. Legendary Wolf and Snake. Meltan ties into game. Legendaries will not be available until after first completion of Pokemon League. Now, that's interesting to me because usually we get the box Pokemon. We at least fight them and have the chance to catch them before the Pokemon League. So Legendary Wolf and Snake, usually the horse, if someone mentions the horse with those 2, or at least one of the other ones. So Meltan ties into game. That clearly, I mean, obviously he's been promoted a lot to be a part of this these games, and this is like, ever since the first leak we had in February before the games were announced, no one's ever mentioned anything about Meltan tying into the game except for this one. I'm not giving this one credit as saying that it's more credible than the other ones. It's definitely not. It's about the same. But no one's really brought up Meltan like they did previously. So post-game will include multiple past legendaries you were able to search for. Meltan does tie into the game, unsure on how. So they mentioned Meltan twice. That's cool. Not sure why they did. But of course the past legendaries will make an appearance. I mean, Ultra Sun, that was pretty much the post-game was just a tunnel simulator into warp holes to find legendary Pokemon. We've seen it before. That's perfectly believable. Rebattle system in place for NPCs. Previously seen characters from other generations will make appearances such battles as NPCs. Okay, so rebattle system, that's definitely the versus Seeker from Fire Red and Leaf Green. Sounds very similar to it. That's awesome. Previously seen characters. Okay, so we definitely could see like Cynthia or Red or Blue, one of the other previous champions, appear similar to Generation 5 when we had like the World Tournament. That's awesome. I can definitely see that happening. I would love to see the interactions between the different gym leaders. Like, say for example, if you took Brock and who's that gym leader from the 3rd generation, the first one in Rustboro City, I think Roxanne, and have them interact and like watch a conversation between those two, sharing ideas about like different rocks. And that sounds like a pretty cool thing to see how they would interact if they have common like Pokemon things. I would love to see that. So breeding mechanic is a bit different. Utilizing incubators like in Pokemon Go. I feel like that's false. I feel like that's 100% false for the reason that if any game were to include incubators, it would have been Let's Go, but they left breeding completely out. Let's Go was supposed to be them using the hype they got off of Pokemon Go, because that game did make $500 million in July 2016 when it first launched, and this Pokemon Let's Go was them capitalizing on that. I feel like that would have been the game to make egg incubators. I don't buy that at all. I'm not buying that egg incubator thing for this generation. I think they specifically said this is supposed to be more like the handheld games and not like them tying to Let's Go. So that's not a go for me. Sorry, don't believe you. TM's usable only one time like earlier gen games, but can buy them again via stores. That's a huge step backwards. Like, that's why have them be permanent. You can use them multiple times and then take a step back. That's, I feel like Nintendo wouldn't do that, but they've done it sometimes, because I believe the PSS system for online was way better in Generation 6 and X and Y, and then Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, or Sun and Moon, they just did away with it, and it was an amazing system. I loved it. So they have taken steps back, but I don't think they would go that far back. They wouldn't Festival Plaza us again on something so simple like TMs being visible. That's ridiculous. Not gonna believe that, sorry. So no ride Pokemon. 5 HMs. Oh, sorry. All right. 5 HMs available. Cut, Strength, Surf, Fly, Climb. No die, Waterfall, Flash. HMs no longer permanent, but can be reused. HMs no longer permanent. I think, okay, so what they mean is when you give a Pokemon an HM move, usually you have to go to the move deleter to get rid of it. So I'm assuming what they mean is here you can get rid of it if you're learning a new move naturally through level up or through use of TM. So that's pretty cool. I'm fine with that. But I don't see a reason to take a step back, because one of the most irritating things players are aware of is having to substitute some of your moves out to have HMs in your party. And no one likes that. I mean, come on, that's trash. So Gen 1 and 2 starters are able to be caught in the wild. That's fine. That's something that they did in Ultra Sun, and I was pretty cool with it. I hope they don't overdo it or make it super early game, because I know that for most of my Sun and Moon run, I think the only generation Pokemon from Generation 7 on my team was my starter Pokemon. They had too many Pokemon from previous generations available that I liked, so I just didn't even use that generation's Pokemon except for my starter Pokemon, which was, of course, Decidueye. So I hope they space them out and they make them like immediately. You can get a Charmander as soon as you get your starter. That would be a terrible idea. But then again, they kind of did do that in Pokemon X and Y, but that was to introduce Mega Evolution. That's a separate conversation altogether. So all in all, I think these rumors are 100% fake. This is just someone having fun, and that's perfectly fine. That's cool. It's awesome. But passing them off as like, oh, this is it. Not cool. So that'll be it for this video, guys. I love doing these things because it gives me an insight of what other people like me are thinking about what they want in their games, because you wouldn't make this up unless to some degree you wanted this. So I'm perfectly fine with reading these and fine with people making these. So it's pretty cool. I'm gonna keep doing it if you guys like it. So I think that'll be it. Dom out.